Hey YouTube, I've started my diaries on my larger fish, so I thought it was about time that my walking catfish got some attention. This fish comes from Southeast Asia, quite widespread over there. In the wild they're normally a grey or brown colour, and that's because they live in really silty, muddy, dirty water, so they're quite well camouflaged. The colours that you see in this fish are from captive breeding and selective breeding, and they really do have some nice colours on them. They're a scaleless fish. For anyone that hasn't felt a catfish of this type before, it has the smoothest skin. It's quite a lot of slime, but the smoothest skin you can imagine. It really is a odd sensation to hold and feel. I mean, I fish over in the UK for the Welsh catfish, and it's exactly the same sort of type body, and it's a really velvety soft skin. So these fish from Southeast Asia, like I said, size wise get to about 20 inches or thereabouts in the tank. Probably around 16 inches is about the biggest you're going to find them. They live for a very long time, so size and age is something to consider when looking at these fish. Over in the States and the US, I believe they're banned in several, if not nationally now, because they're an invasive species. People have been letting these fish go in the wild, and they have devastated local and native populations of fish. One of the reasons is the appetite. They'll eat anything, and I do mean anything. They'll eat plants, they'll eat invertebrates, they'll eat fish, anything they can fit in their mouth. Another reason that they're so dangerous is the water parameters that these fish can handle. They can live in a muddy puddle. Now, I've said that in other videos, and people might think I'm joking. These fish can survive as long as their skin, they've got a nice slime coat. As long as that doesn't dry out and their gills are moist, these fish can survive. So they can live in just about any water conditions. So if you get a really hot summer, or some pollutants in the water that some of the native fish can't handle, they start dying out, these fish will get a foothold and they will survive and prosper. So that's one of the reasons I love them. I love all catfish. Catfish are amazing species. You find them in just about every river in the world, and wherever you find catfish, you're going to have one big species that normally is a dominant species. There's not many fish out there that can tackle a fully grown catfish, and they are the dominant predators in most of the rivers you'll find them in. As for the walking catfish, the size means that it can be kept in a tank, as I'm sure you're all aware of the big names like your red tail catfish and your shovel-nosed tigers. I don't think that I think that people want to keep them. They should be allowed to keep them, but you've got to be prepared for a tropical pond and ridiculous tanks. Some people say they shouldn't be kept. I think that's nonsense. If people can afford and will meet the needs of any fish, then you should be allowed to keep them. But back to the walking catfish, because of the size it can be kept. It is an amazing fish. As I've said, wherever they live, most catfish species are the dominant fish in the river, so then they don't have a lot of fear from other fish. Once your walking catfish hits adult, within a year or two, they're going to be pretty big. They're not going to be bothered by anything in your tank. So if you like monster fish, that's one of the things that I like to keep is big fish, monster fish as I call them. These are monsters. Nothing's going to bother this fish in your tank, and it's nice to watch the confidence that they have. As far as the walking name, that they're not going to put on a pair of trainers and go for a run, but as I've said, if their slime coat doesn't dry out and their gills are moist, these fish can cross land, which is another reason they are so invasive. If there's a problem, or if their pond or their river dries up for some reason, they will just get out, go for a walk and get into the next one. But I like them. I think they're beautiful fish, and I will keep more catfish as my fish room progresses and eventually with the pond. So yeah, that's the walking catfish. I'm going to do an update probably in about a month, because he's not going to grow a lot. He's already an adult fish, but I'll do an update on him in about a month. Check out my channel for all my other fish species that I keep. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.